in the food is necessary for bacterial growth. So some microbes might only be able to grow on foods that provide that vitamin. Biological barriers. These are then going to be coverings that will prevent bacterial growth on the foods. You can think of lots of examples of this. Rinds on a melon, the shell of an egg, the shells of nuts and things. These are all barriers, biological barriers that prevent bacteria from getting to the food. If they get breached or if they get compromised, then bacteria, of course, can get in. And the last thing that we'll mention here with regards to intrinsic factors are antimicrobial compounds. Some foods actually have compounds that are going to inhibit bacterial growth. For instance, garlic has a compound that will inhibit bacterial growth. Cranberries have compounds that inhibit bacterial growth.
So that way they say you can eat a lot of berries and you don't have a bacterial growth.
You mean cranberries for urinary tract infections? Yeah, there's a chemical in there that actually helps in with bacterial infections. Okay, that brings us finally to intrinsic factors here. Two things we can mention here: temperature and atmosphere. First, temperature. Where we store the food will determine the bacterial growth that we get. We know this. This is why we keep our food refrigerated. This is why we put our food in freezers. Leave your food sitting on the stovetop and you have a greater chance of bacterial growth occurring because it's at room temperature. So storage temperature can affect bacterial growth. The lower the temperature, the lower the bacterial activity. Freeze the food and you stop bacterial activity completely. Bacteria do not grow in frozen food. That's why we can freeze our food and keep it indefinitely. However, that doesn't kill the bacteria. Just because you froze the food doesn't mean you kill the bacteria. So if there are bacteria on the food and you set it on your countertop, let it thaw out, and leave it there for a couple of days, you will get bacterial growth on that food. Again, remember, we don't want to forget about endospores being very resistant and resilient as well. And then atmosphere, really what we're talking about now is availability of oxygen. Most of the microbes that we're talking about that are going to be growing on food require oxygen to do so. And so if you can limit the oxygen availability, you can limit the type of bacterial growth that you might get. We vacuum seal stuff that we want to store for a long time. Removing the oxygen prevents bacterial growth. Any questions, comments? Okay, so when we meet on Wednesday, I'll have a little bit more about food microbiology that I want to talk about, and then we'll have our review session for our exam.
And Monday there's no class.
No class on Monday.